Hey y'all, happy Saturday. What's up? Okay, so I wanted to come on here and talk about narcissistic parents and their jealousy. Because I always get these random pop-ups when I'm just kind of reflecting and thinking, and whenever I get these feelings, I feel like I need to jump on here and just share. Um, so I can only talk about my experience with my mom and her narcissistic traits and jealousy. Um, a lot of the jealousy that she had, I didn't realize it. A lot of it, I didn't realize it until I stepped away from her in a relationship. Um, but a lot of the times, I knew she had jealousy tendencies when I was in communication and contact with her, and the jealousy was different. One of the main ways that my mom showed jealousy was my mom was always jealous of me having friends. She always felt threatened or intimidated whenever I got close to anybody else but her. Especially when I was a teenager, a preteen, like she was like every best friend or friend that I've had, my mom always, and it's really hard for me to explain, but she always felt some form of jealousy. I remember when I was in high school, me and my friends decided to go to an amusement park. I'm from New York, so there's this amusement park in New York called Playland. And me and my friends wanted to go. I think it was maybe 4th of July. And we always like, let's, teenager, let's go to amusement park. Let my mom know about it. And she said she wanted to tag along. Sure, I guess maybe she wanted to be a chaperone. That's what I thought. She wanted to tag along. Mind you, my mom doesn't get on rides. She literally just walks around the park, smokes cigarettes. Like she's not really an amusement park person, but she wanted to come. Sure. The moment me and my friends and her all gathered together, her energy was just off. She had this stank look on her face the whole time. When we were like just talking and just having conversation, as just, teenage girls, we was just talking about, girl, I don't know, we was guys, I don't, girl, guy, whoever was listening, we would just be talking about random things. And it felt like she just wanted to like jump in and fit in and just made her presence known. Like it was just super bizarre. The whole entire time she picked fights with me and arguments with me. Like she kept nitpicking at me the whole entire time. um I remember while we were walking around the amusement park, um she I was walking, me and my friend, one of my friends, we were walking to a ride, and we was excited running to a ride because I used to love amusement parks when I was that age. And my mom was like, she called me, she kept calling my name, and she was like, you need to stand by me, you're going to leave me for your friends, you need to stand by your mother. So she didn't like that I was just hanging out with my friends. um there's more incidents. Sometimes when you grow up in these type of abuse, your memory is kind of like fog. Whenever one of my best friends at the time, whenever she would call my house, back then we didn't really have cell phones. It was house phones. We didn't really, we had, back when I was a teenager, we had the phones with the minutes. So most of the time my friends would always call my cell phone, and my mom would always get annoyed when one of my friends at the time would always call me on the house phone, and we would just talk. Like she always got that annoyance of, every time she would call me on the phone. Um, when I became a young adult and I would hang out with friends, maybe I was probably like 21, 22, and I wasn't the type to like be out in the streets and all that stuff. I was like I was in college, working and going to school at the same time. And whenever I hung out with friends, um, I would always text my mom and, to be respectful, like, hey, after work, me and my friends, we're just gonna go out. We might go out to a movie. I was 21 at the time, so I might tell her, I might go to a bar too, whatever. Just let her know, like, hey, I'm just gonna, you know, be home a little late, just out of respect. And every time I would come home, she would pick a fight and argument with me. I remember one time she was just like, I get mad when you hang out with your friends because the amount of money you were spending going out, it should be going towards me. So she never liked me just being in connections with other people. Even younger than a teenager, I think my mom was jealous of me having friends, even as a young age. Um, Another form of jealousy that when I look back on it now was me dating. My mom didn't have the best upbringing. You know, she had 6 kids, two baby daddies. My mom was kind of wild in her day. So she didn't really, she never really, I don't want to get too deep in her history, but long story short, she didn't really have the best history or guidance when it comes down to dating. And when I started dating, she would always just make little mean comments. Like, I remember I was talking to this guy, he gave me his number. He actually gave me his number the day that we went to play to Playland. He worked at the park and he asked for my phone number. And my mom was like, "Oh, I gave him his phone number." Me and him ended up stopped talking. We stopped talking because he ended up getting back together with an ex, whatever, whatever. And I was young. I think I was probably maybe like 18, 19 at the time. And I remember my mom was just like, "Oh, he must didn't like you, huh? Oh, he must didn't like you, huh?" And whenever I would go out on dates or leave the house to go out on dates, she would always make little snarky comments if I wasn't dating with that person anymore or talking to that person anymore, which was very hurtful. But when I look back on it, I do think that stemmed from jealousy. Um, because I was just connecting with other people, and I was kind of, I mean, I wouldn't say I was connecting with guys in a healthy way, but more healthier than what she was doing when she was my age. um and going through these experiences with your parents can be very confusing. um it can be very confusing. It's very hurtful, to when you have a parent who projects their jealousy and envy on you. And a lot of the times, from what I feel, is because they haven't dealt with their trauma and their issues and stuff and their own insecurities, and they project those insecurities onto you. So as I was sitting here reflecting, thinking about it, and I'm like, yes, a lot of the insecurities and you know the the things that I'm going through was projection that I got from her. I didn't have a healthy household where I can talk to my mom about guys or talk to my mom about friends or anything like that. Which I am going to learn how to accept. Because all these stories and stuff that I'm talking about and process is things that I'm going through at the moment. I'm not no professional. Like, I'm going through the motion, y'all. So, this is just me, just having epiphanies and just letting you guys know, like, especially if you did experience this type of relationship. But dealing with a toxic or jealous parent is extremely hurtful, because your parents are your first relationship, um, and they kind of map out how you view yourself and how you view other people and how you view relationships in general. Um, but as I sit here and think, I'm like, wow, this lady she was just, she felt entitled to my time. She felt entitled. She didn't want, like it was crazy. Like, my mom felt like my world had to revolve around her. Um, and how dare I build any form of connection with anybody else? Another thing, whew, this brings up another. I remember, with my best friend when we graduated high school. Oh, I'm glad I thought about this story because this is another one of one of her jealousy ways. When my friend graduated, when one of my old best friends graduated high school, she ended up moving to Florida and to go away to college. Me, I stayed in New York. Um, so I was working. I was going to community college, and I was working at Macy's full time, working. I remember one day my friend, she reached out to me and she was like, "Hey, I'm in New York," and I haven't seen her in, like, I think maybe in like a year or so, maybe six months to a year. So I was super excited. Um, and she met me at my job and we had lunch, and she was here for the weekend. And I remember when I got home and I went to my mom and she asked me how my day was, and I'm like, my Chelsea came out and she, surprised me at work, and I was so excited, and I was telling her, that she surprised me at work and we had lunch. And my mom had this like weird look on her face, and she was just like plain and kind of like her face was turned up. And I'm like, okay. I went in my room. She came in my room and was just like, you don't need to be so excited over somebody else. Like, that's unhealthy. You don't need to be excited over that girl. Why are you so excited over somebody else? Like, I don't like when I mean this lady gaslit me and tore me up verbally, all because I was excited about my best friend visiting me at work. She was mad. She was mad. There was also another incident where when I first started community college, and when you first start college straight out of high school and you don't know anybody, it can be, kind of scary, and you're trying to navigate. And I ended up bumping into two of my friends that I know when I was in high school, and these are also two friends who went with me when we went to the amusement park. Um, and I found out that we had a class together, and I was super excited. I'm like, yeah, now I have a class with friends that I know, so I don't feel so alone while this is my beginning, starting college. I get home from school, and she asked me how school was, and I'm like, oh, so and so. I found out that we were in the same class, and it was great because I felt like I wasn't alone. And again, she got so upset. Why are you so excited? You don't need to be excited about like this lady was mad about me being excited about somebody other than her. Like she felt so threatened and entitled, and it pissed her off. And she would like yell at me to the point that I would cry. And then make basically gaslight me, and then I would think that I did something wrong when actuality I didn't do anything wrong. Um, and that messes with you. It really did. It really did fuck with me. It did because you just being a normal person and just being happy about being around other people, and then your parent is just telling you like, how dare you be excited about somebody else other than me? I'm insecure. I'm the one that you're supposed to be happy about or be around. You're not supposed to have connections with anybody other than me. And that was also a way of her to continue to control me because my mom was very controlling and very manipulative. And when I look back on it now, I'd be like, wow, like, and I'm laughing because it's uncomfortable, but I'm just like, wow, like this, like she really was jealous of any you guys can still hear me, but when I look back on it now, I'm just like, wow, you know, and I think, wow, I'm happy I was able to get away from her and get away from it. Um, but the jealousy be real when you have these type of parents, man. And the gaslighting, and when you confront them, they are in denial. It turns your world and your mind upside down because you really think, because even at that time I'm really think like, well, maybe was I too excited? Like, did I do anything wrong? Like, it really messes with you. It really does. But I don't know. I just wanted to talk about that because this is something that definitely hit home for me. It's something that I just popped into me that just told me to come on here and just talk about the jealousy that a lot of like these, like a lot of narcissists have, or narcissistic parents. I mean, I can only talk about a parent, my parent. I don't know how it is in, any other relationship, but it's crazy. But I'm glad that I'm able to kind of pinpoint it, recognize it, and realize that I didn't do anything wrong, that I wasn't the problem. And this is something that I'm definitely going to work through, and something I'm going to bring up, you know, I'm in the process of finding a new therapist. I'm in the process of trying to get into EMDR therapy as well. So hopefully I'll get into that soon. But yeah, I just wanted to come on here and just share this random talk with y'all. Bye.